Today, we're talking about websites. Like, do you really need one? And if you have one, is your website actually working for you? So, I've invited an amazing guest on who's going to talk about some of the critical things you need for your website to actually be an effective marketing tool for you. And we're going to talk about at the end, is Facebook ads your next step? Hey, friends, before we dive into this week's episode, I want to share an amazing opportunity we have when you join the Best Damn Coach right now. And the BDC is what we affectionately call it, is a signature community, our signature community for coaches who want to grow their businesses, who want to be more profitable, and who care about the results they deliver to their clients. We focus on the art of building a business and becoming a coach who really knows how to facilitate results and give their clients what we call a surprise and delight experience. And there's a lot of coaching programs out there. Totally get you. You're bombarded with ideas. But what makes us different is that we have an opportunity for you to ask open questions every month in 2 office hour sessions that we host. It is me coaching you live, and you have the support of the community. And then each month, I'm also teaching themes. So each month, I change the theme and we focus on different elements of either coaching mastery or profitability inside of your business. There's really no other coaching program out there like this one. And I've built it because it's exactly what I wish I had when I was in the beginning few years of making my first 6 figures. And that's really our goal, is that we're going to give you a roadmap to building a coaching business that could bring in 6 figures and beyond if that's something you are desiring, which I know most of you are. And so right now, when you join, we are offering something that we've never done before. And some of our new people that are joining are absolutely obsessed with that. And when you join, you get access to the Framework Builder Lab. So you get access to really 2 of our signature programs where I'm going to help you build out your signature framework. And if you've already done that and you're like, yeah, I've already done that, Amanda, you could come in and repeat that if you want in a different and unique way, or to maybe tighten up the framework. But here's the one that is really the sweet sauce, is when you join right now, you will get direct access to me via 60 days of Voxer access. And if you're not familiar with Voxer, it is basically a texting and walkie-talkie back and forth one-to-one experience. So literally you come into the program and you get to pick my brain and be supported, and I get to help you know exactly what to do next, which is the most powerful part. And I was like, I want to give this a go and see how it goes. And our folks that have joined recently are loving it. So if you're curious about the BDC, you want to know more, you just want to hop on the phone with me, I've carved out space over the next basically few weeks to answer any of your questions. We can hop on a call and chat more. And so the way you can access that is by hopping on my calendar, which is amanda-walker.com// let's chat, LETSCHAT. It'll give you all the open spots. Grab one. Let's hop on the phone. I'd love to tell you more about the BDC and make sure it's a great fit for you as well. Welcome to the Best Damn Coach podcast. I am excited to bring on today's guest because I have to give you credit, Brad, for just so much support inside of my business, you and the team. I know there's other people behind you, but I feel like you've known me since the beginning and helped with such small things to larger things, and still are such a great support inside business. So it makes it just a very perfectly timed episode to have you on the show. So this is Brad Ball. He
Yeah.
is the head of Liquis
Hello.
Digital now. And so I'm so excited you're here.
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, so before we get started, I just want to have you just describe a little bit about what you do, and maybe in less than like 90 seconds, how you got here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, we do web design and digital marketing. So, focusing on mostly just paid ads, Facebook ads, Google ads. We help businesses of all types. We are a family-owned marketing agency, and we've been doing this since, well, it's about 16 years now, since '08. So, we are always have been family-owned and operated. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We've just, grown step by step. Yep. We help large businesses, small businesses, all different
I
types.
love it. Talk about
Yeah.
pre-Liquis. Like, how'd you end up getting so good at all this stuff?
You know what? That is a great question. So pre-Liquis, I actually have a degree in IT. I was working in hospitals and in IT. I was like growing and doing all of these things, but I've always wanted to have my own business. I always was interested and loved web design. Actually, had a degree in web design. Always wanted to have my own web design agency. Now, this was back before like Facebook was happening, before WordPress, before all of this stuff, right? This is back in like Flash sites.
Which I
So
don't even
not
know
to
what
date
that
myself
means.
too much.
I don't even know
Yeah,
what that means,
yeah.
but yeah.
So a long time ago. And so I got into it. So I had an opportunity to jump ship where I was at and start the agency with the family. And we haven't looked back. So obviously you've had a lot of, ups and downs and everything. But yeah. And honestly, with what we do, it's completely evolved. Like what we knew, what was going on, what was happening when we started doesn't even pertain or exist now. And that could even go like back to 5, 10 years ago, even, so
Talk about like the
marketing is,
power of the pivot and marketing and like
yeah,
being on top of
right.
all the latest stuff that comes out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm always, and I think what really sets a good marketer apart is someone that really enjoys it is someone that's always learning. Like I'm always just watching videos and learning new stuff. And, sometimes I'm like, do I really need to know this? And I'm like, well, I love to learn actually.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
that's so
that's
cool.
a big part, I think, of being successful in marketing.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I invited Brad to come on because together we're going to answer, I think, two common questions that I know I get asked all the time. Obviously, you do because of what you do, but I want to first tell this story because I remember before I even knew you, I remember very clearly, like, well, if I'm going to have a business, I have to have a website. Like, I was locked into that belief. And I remember watching YouTube video after YouTube video trying to like build out my site. And it was not easy. And I remember hitting publish. I was like so nervous. And I remember Justin and another mutual friend were like, just freaking hit publish. And I was like, no, I'm so afraid. And then it's like, you hit publish and nobody comes to the site, right?
Yeah.
But nobody even knows that you just hit
Right.
publish in this little cyber world. And that
Nope.
was pretty eye opening for me of how actually a website was poorly utilized and at what points to know. And then you guys came into my world and I just started learning so much, not even about website development, but just understanding how marketing was. I was like, wait, you need this
Yeah.
other thing in the back end to collect emails? I thought it was just the website. Like the website did everything. So I just remember there's been so much learning
Yeah.
through you and that still happens. But I wanted to chat today primarily about websites because so many coaches come into my world, those of you that are listening. And one of the things you think is like right in the beginning, you have to have a website. I want to know what your thoughts are about that in just a second. But more so, we just want to help you optimize your website. And so we're going to talk a little bit about some of the primary things like that you need to have in order to have a website that's like viable. But I would first
Yeah.
love to ask you this question of like, when does a website matter? Like, what should you have in place before saying yes to building a website?
Yes. Well, I am with the belief that you don't necessarily need a website, right? So a website is a tool, just like Instagram is a tool in your business. You don't need Instagram, but it's helpful. So with a website, I think a business should have a website when they are clear on their messaging and they are ready to start building credibility online, because that's ultimately what initially your website's doing, is building credibility and collecting emails, right? So then that's it. So there's no like defined timeline. I think it's I would say every business should work toward having a website. I think it's a great tool for a business to establish trust and credibility. Just having a website does that in itself. Not having a website can make people think you're less creditable. But on the flip side, having a website that doesn't match your brand, doesn't match the messaging, kind of looks really bad, it can also turn people off. So it can kind of do the opposite.
Yeah.
So you want to have a website that is decent looking and is going to build credibility.
So good. I just think of you and I talk about how, the investment in a well done website, and we're not talking about like something super low ticket or done by yourself or an estimate, but having it like built by an authority like yourselves that are building these out, it's like not a small investment. It's, it's a
Right. Yeah.
worthwhile investment.
Yes.
But I love that you point out that messaging and clarity piece. From a coaching standpoint, those of you that are
Hmm.
listening, I think Brad and I would agree. You need to know at least close, like the problem you solve and and who your client is, and not just be talking to people, but talking
Right.
to the person. I think you're going to get probably into more of those details a little bit, but I love that you just said, like,
Yeah.
it's not a critical yes to have a website in the beginning. There's some work you need to do before you build it out.
Absolutely. I think another thing that people really fall trapped to when they are doing their own website or kind of getting started is they're really so focused on the design, which is
Mm.
important. It does create credibility, right? Or give you credibility. Um, but it's not an art project, right? Like a website is a tool. It's a marketing tool. It's not an art project. It's not how well can this look? And in fact, the most important part of the website is not the design, but the content. 100% hands down, the content is the most important part of a website.
Yeah, that's so good. Okay, so let's dive into some of the key things that you think or believe
Hmm.
that a website that's going to do work for you. So I think actually we should define, how do you know if your website is working for you or not? Like, what are some of the things that should be happening on your website to know if it's quote unquote working, or the things that we should be measuring?
Yes. Well, definitely the things you should be measuring is your ultimate KPI, like the key process indicator should be to leads, phone calls, people contacting you. That is ultimately the metric that you would want to measure. The next thing is, and this is a harder thing to measure, but when you have a lead and they do come check you out, is your website leveraging you as an expert? Is it building that credibility? So one way to maybe tell that is, maybe your sales before, your sales after, or if people mention your website or something that they found on your website, or if you reference your website and that's when they convert. So things like that will help decide whether they are converting or if it's the design of the website that's helping.
It's so good.
Mhm.
I think also too, just I want to point out, like, the thing that I didn't understand is that your website is one piece, right? So that's the visual piece. But on the inside,
Yeah.
the you also need some sort of tool, an email marketing platform, but I would advise this, as you would do, right? Some sort of email
Mhm.
marketing platform that can do what I will just lump in there as like the communication, right? From the website to you as the business owner, whether that's booking leads, whether it's joining the email list, all of those things. And I know for me at the beginning, I didn't realize that those were two different things. I mean, that's super simple, but I do feel like there might be some people
Right.
listening right now that need that clarification too.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a couple different things when it comes to websites that we look at when it comes to converting your visitors into buyers. And the first mistake people make is they just don't have a clear call to action, right? A clear call to action, or a call to action is just basically telling people what action they need to take next. Maybe it's book a call, maybe it's to call you, or whatever it is, right? So if if people do manage to get a clear call to action on their website, that's great. But one of the three things that we've identified as what is, really important for your website to convert leads consistently is not just having your main primary clear call to action, but actually having a secondary call to action. So basically, 80 to 90% of your visitors that come to your website are not ready to take your main call to action. So what are they going to do? They're going to leave. So the goal of the secondary call to action is to capture them. So give them a next step. And we typically call that a lead magnet. So it could be something like a PDF checklist, a quiz, a short video series, maybe a mini book or a little free course, something that you're providing a value in exchange for their email address so that you can keep that conversation going.
Yeah, I want to hit
So
on.
providing that lead
Yeah,
magnet.
that's so good. I think this is in general just a misconception or something to drive to the point, because I see this all the time with my coaches is they expect that let's say prospective client downloads the freebie, goes through an email sequence to nurture, and that right out the gate, they're booking that call to work with them, right?
Right.
Does that happen
Right.
occasionally? Yes. More often than not, that
Mhm.
is not the case, right? That's why we need
Right.
this like ecosystem. And so I think I just want to eliminate like there's this gap between expectation and reality. That's why once you have them on your email list, it's critical to create some sort of nurturing experience
Yes.
so that it's
Mhm.
not like post and ghost basically, or like, hey, you got my free thing, but now you've forgotten who I am. So could you
Exactly.
speak to just like a little bit about I best practices or what you suggest
Yeah,
after that?
absolutely. So when it comes to that lead magnet, I think you're exactly right. Like you want to have an automated sequence set up that this person's going to receive, right? So they get the download or the item, and they get a first email right away. And then over the next, I don't know, maybe week or so, they're going to end up getting multiple emails from you that support that freebie. And then also build trust, build credibility, tell your story, get them, to know you, and then drive them to maybe a next offer or a next step. And you're kind of really the lead magnet isn't necessarily to solve all of their problems. It's really just to get them into your world to solve a quick problem. It's something that's easy to consume, give them a quick win, and to lead them into your main offer. And of course, yeah, like you said, you're not gonna have 20 downloads and then 20 new clients. I mean, you're gonna maybe get, a 10% conversion rate on that. And it might be over, months, they might have to see more. So
Yep.
after that initial automated sequence, then you don't want to just ghost them. Now you need to have something in place to keep giving value. So like even that like weekly newsletter that you send out that isn't like just a corporate newsletter, but something of value, a story of how you've helped somebody or how you can help them further, continuing to give them value and staying in their world without spamming them.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, cool. I wanted to just put on that. So, first
Yeah.
thing is like we really need to think of that primary and secondary call to action that is clear. And I want to even add, because this is the part that really is challenging for me, is clear call to action. Like it's a tangible result. Like if you want to go even more clear, is
Yeah.
there should be tangible results, not like if you want to feel more empowered, book a call. Right? It's
Yes.
like, if you
Yes.
wanna build a website that converts leads in less than 30
Yes.
days, let's chat. Like,
Right.
there is a
Yeah.
difference in those 2 calls to action, and I think
Absolutely.
often there's a perception that we have a call to action, but we really have a very ambiguous call to action, and so if it's not
Yeah.
clear, then they would bounce.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Which actually segues great into really the next most important part and probably the most important part of your website, and that is your hero section. So this is where most people get it wrong. And it's probably will make the biggest impact and something that's the easiest to change. And that this hero section, if you don't know what that is, it's like that big section that you see when you first come to a website. And almost
We'll
every
take a
website has this
screenshot of
big
my
section.
hero section and just drop it in, or your hero section and drop it in, so the show notes, so they know what we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically what this hero section should do is it clearly explain what you do, the benefit that you provide, and what action you want them to take. So clearly within 7 seconds of them visiting your website, they should be able to answer those questions. Now, a bonus, if you can include who you serve and add some credibility element into that, that's even better. And the most common mistakes is this ambiguous information that people have, like a welcome message, like welcome to my website. Like
Ooh,
nobody
good.
needs welcomed into a website. No one needs welcomed. The fluffy tagline, like live your truth. I mean, if and then not having a call to action. Like if you can take what's on your hero section and put it onto like 20 different other websites and it makes sense, then it's way too ambiguous. It should only fit on your website and make sense for your website. So you want to be clear and concise, clearly state what you do, what the benefit is, and exactly what they need to do next. And don't be cute and clever with that phrasing.
Yeah. In the words of Marie Forleo, a confused mind says no. So if
Right?
we're not really
Yes.
sure, then we just don't know if you're for me or not for me. And we want to eliminate that. To
Mhm.
your point, you got only a few seconds to hopefully capture them so they at least start moving through the rest of the website, right?
Yes. Right. And they want to know that they're there. Like they don't want to come to a website and have to figure things out. Right. You just want to come to a website and know, like, okay, this website's for me. This is what I'm going to get out of it. This is why I'm here. It makes sense for me to continue scrolling. And if it doesn't, then there's a million other websites for them to go look at.
Yeah. So good. Okay. So there's second one, making sure you're maximizing the hero image. And then what else do you feel like is critical?
The next thing, and probably the next biggest mistake that people make is not focusing on the benefits. So, as a service provider, as a business owner, we are really, really good at knowing the features of what we offer. So how many Zoom calls, the worksheets that are included, all of the little things that we're providing. And we just want to talk about ourselves and what we're offering and us. Where it's not about the features, it's about the benefits. What is the visitor going to get? It's all they care about. They don't care about you, they care about them. So features are about you and your products and your service, where benefits are all about your customers. So we want to focus on the benefits, and that really should be what's right under the hero section. And a lot of times what happens is what's right under the hero section is an about me section
Mm.
or a features section. So we really want to go right into the benefits and really keep it the customer focused. So,
Okay, cool. I have several questions around this or
yes.
clarifications. First, if you've been in my world long enough as a listener, you know like what Brad just said was his way of what I say, selling the plane ride and not the dream destination. And we spend way too much time talking about the plane ride, and our people don't give a flying hoot about how many
Yeah.
Voxer sessions or how many group coaching calls you're going to give. They just want to know, are you going to help me lose 40 pounds? Are you going to help me create my morning routine, right? Are you going to help me make more money in my business? And I can't reiterate how critical that was. I know when I figured out the more specific problem and how to communicate the results, definitely there's so much traction happening in my business that I was missing for so many years because I couldn't quite like wrap my head around it. I was so stuck in the bottle. Um, but I wanna
Yeah.
also extend, upon oh my gosh, I totally am losing my track on this question. So I know what I was gonna say is, where do you suggest then the about section? Because I do see this a lot in the beginning, with web developments, like, they wanna put themselves front and center. What's your suggestion? Just the about me kinda tab? Is that the best place to pull the about section away totally? What's your thoughts?
I mean, so people definitely want to know about you, but they're not going to want to know about you until they know what's in it for them. They know what they're going to get, and then they want to know why you. So it really makes sense to go after that features section or like what's included. And I also like to put it maybe even after some of that credibility.
Yeah.
So testimonials or awards and all that stuff. So towards the end, right? So it's important. People want to know who they're working with and who you are and why they should work with you, but not before they get all of their me questions answered.
Yeah, so good. Okay, cool. What else? Any other pieces that you feel like are critical to make sure that we
Well,
have?
those are really the main three that we've identified as far, and all of that comes down to like to messaging, really, saying the right things at the right times, making that clear promise, selling the transformation. And yeah, the other thing is obviously just the look and feel, like the design should be, should reflect your brand, and it should reflect, that having that credibility. The other thing is having credibility. Testimonials, video testimonials are great. Awards, like logos of people you've worked with, or brands. That this helps build credibility. So that's the other thing people are looking for.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
Something that's coming up as we're talking about this, okay, you have the website. And what I want to maybe shift is we know the things we need to have on the website. But as I mentioned, I clicked publish at the beginning and nobody was like
Right.
flocking to my website. So
Yes.
that takes me into this idea of like leads to the website. And, we can build our own audience, we can borrow somebody else's audience, or we can buy an audience. And so, or all three. or two or whatever, I love a diversity of all those things. But I'm curious for you, like what you're teaching. I think this is the big question. How do we grow our bit? Like this is a robust question. It's not simple, but
Right.
from a web development, you know, perspective, what's like the single way that you feel like consistent leads coming into your website can happen from?
Yes. Well, the fastest route is to just run ads, right? So with ads, it gives you the leverage to like buy that audience, right? To go out there and find the people that are interested. And it's a lot of people get, I think, scared of running ads because they feel like they need to have this big budget, and they have to come in with all of this stuff. And they really don't. You could even start up, and I recommend probably starting with Facebook and Instagram ads. And when we think Facebook ads, it's really Facebook and Instagram because it's the same platform. There's also then Google ads. So if we're for coaches that are starting out, I would recommend doing Facebook and Instagram ads. So, and you can even start with simple, like just take some of your posts that have performed well and don't boost them, but go into the ad manager and actually create an ad and take that post that did well and just run an ad with it and start building that audience and then start to experiment with it. And my next evolution when it comes to ads is then start running conversion ads, getting people to take action, bringing them back to your free download, bringing them back to your main call to action. So I think you want to do two things with the ads: is get in front of that audience with value and then also make a call to action, especially starting out.
Yeah, I love that. I think that that's like such a tough one, right? Because agreed. And also, making sure you have a consistent place for them to go after said ad, right? Because I think this is where if you don't have like,
Yes.
okay, is there an offer? Is there a sequence? Is there a freebie or something? Otherwise, you're throwing that ad out there with no real back end strategy. And I think that's where the money can be wasted. Because I know you've heard before, by the way, Brad runs our ads and helps us with all our ads. So we've talked at length, and there's moments where I get so scared about ads and other times. And it took me a long time to kind of get to that place, but it's because I felt confident in the back end strategy, which in and of itself, like we're in a place now where even that dwindled for a couple weeks. I was like, what's happening? All right. And I go into this moment of scarcity. And then it's like the last 2 weeks, we have all these conversions. So I think that from my perspective also is I love the idea of like not putting eggs all in one basket, but like absolutely invest in the fast way cold traffic through ads or warm traffic, I guess, with retargeting too. But also we should be actively creating our own audience and leveraging. For me, speaking on podcasts and teaching in other people's communities is such an amazing way to also grow traffic that ultimately does come back to the website and wanting or needing to have some of those core things that you suggested in place.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. And I will say, if you are going to get started with Facebook and Instagram ads, the biggest mistake that people make when they start off is they skip the hard part of adding the pixel to their website. And it can be really confusing for someone getting started. It can take a little bit to kind of wrap your head around this pixel and what is it, why do you need it? And if you just kind of put all of that aside and just walk through the steps, there's a bazillion YouTube videos on how to do it based off of your website platform. And when you add the pixel to your website, it just really puts your whole ad account on fire. Like it just really lights it up. So it gives Facebook information it needs. It gives you the ability to start creating audiences to retarget to and to really track your results.
Yeah. Can you
So
just speak to what the pixel is for those people that have never heard
yeah,
that term before?
absolutely. So when you create a pixel in Facebook, it's basically this code that you put on your website or websites. Maybe you're using Eventbrite or you're using Calendly and you're using your website and you're using another tool. You can put your pixel on all of these things and start tracking the traffic that you're driving to these places. And then what you can do is create an audience to target those people or people like those people, right? So you can start retargeting these audiences. So people that have interacted with you on Instagram and Facebook, people that have visited your website, people that maybe visited this page on your website. So maybe they were interested in your offer but didn't take you up on it, or if you have a shopping cart, someone who added something to their cart and abandoned, so you can start creating all of these audiences and having these strategies in place. But without the pixel, you can't do any of that.
Yeah.
You're just basically like
It's a little
boosting a
memory
post.
card of the people that like your stuff,
Yes.
basically,
Yep.
which is so key when you start to run ads. So.
Yes. And Facebook learns. So as you start to set objectives like, I want this conversion in this ad, it's going to start learning who are the people that are actually converting. So when you run your next ad, it's going to say, well, we already know that these people convert. So
yeah, so good.
That's the other beauty of it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just recap. So a couple things with ads. You don't have to start big. You can start with a couple bucks, $5 a day, which is how we always test ads, was $5 a day in different ads anyways. Even if you don't even think ads are within range right now for you, but maybe it's something you have a vision like, and you have a website, put your pixel on it, take the time to learn, because that is going to be so huge. But I always feel too that confidence comes with ads when you're confident in your conversions on the other side. Like for me, it was like, yeah, no problem to run ads to a webinar because I know when I have a webinar, I convert leads.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
So knowing you have a machine too, that brings the confidence. And then we've slowly trickled that up. And now we're like, a little bit reevaluating too, because the market does change and you have to add things and nurture things. So I think that's so valuable.
You make a good point, actually. So it's a good way to test your offer, test your stuff, get it in front of more people and see who resonates with it. If it does resonate, if you need to make changes, so you can get your testing phase faster, you can get feedback faster. And then when you do realize or find what's working, like having that machine, the webinars, that the thing that is converting, now you can run more traffic to that and just put, so much more into it and get so much more out of it.
Yeah, that's so amazing. Brad, you gave us so much to think about and maximize. Also, shout out because not only do you help me, you guys also did my husband's website, which is a product-based business, which doesn't look anything like mine. So you should check it out in the show notes as well. Any final pieces or final take home that you feel like would be of benefit for our people to think about?
Yeah, I mean, not a ton, but I would say when it comes to Facebook ads, I think the biggest hurdle is just getting started, right? Like you got to just, get going, and then one thing will build off of another and off of another, and then you'll start learning and growing in that. When it comes to your website, you take a look at your website and see how that hero section looks, and see if you're being clear and concise. I think that's the biggest, easiest change someone could make today and make a huge difference in their website.
Yeah, I love that tangibly. Or I was even thinking is send it to somebody that doesn't really know your business and just say, hey, what do you think? What do you get? And get some honest feedback, or to another coach who doesn't know what you do, and just get their feedback. Because if it's not clear for them and they're in the coaching world, then it's definitely not going to be clear for your potential client either.
Absolutely. Yep.
Tell our people where they can connect with you and come ask questions about web development. If they're looking for a site to be built or run ads, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, we can just go to our website, liquisdigital.com. We also do offer a free website audit. So if you go to liquisdigital.com/audit, you can sign up for a free audit, and we'll give you an audit of your website and tell you what you need to do differently. So yeah.
Good. Awesome.
Check us out there.
I'm so grateful for you. Just the amount of little things that you've supported us through bigger things. And you always offer such a perspective that's different than mine, because I'm so in the bottle. So thanks for sharing with my people too. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me.
Of course.